Hello, welcome to Monday Night Paranormal Live with myself and Jenny, Paul from Host for Ghosts, Angela from South Coast Ghosts, and Julia from Paranation Ghost Hunting Events. So, hope you had a great weekend. So, we're here. I think Luke said he was coming on in a bit, so he may suddenly appear in the corner somewhere. So, tonight we're going to talk about ghost spirits and negative entities. So, if you have any questions or any comments, please send them in. Angela will put them up on the screen and we'll try and answer them. There's an event coming up this Saturday at a really great place, so we'll talk a bit about that from Julia, who's hosting that event, so with Paranation. So we'll talk a bit about that. So, and Angela, was it 2 weeks' time, Angela, you're away?
Yep.
And Angela's away on a carry-on cruising.
Yeah.
So that should be fun, and we will probably be in Poland. So we will try and to endeavour to get on here for the Monday Night Live in 2 weeks' time. So stay tuned; it could be quite funny from all different areas. So you never know. So tonight we're going to talk about ghosts and negative entities. Our thoughts are: if you're doing a paranormal investigation in a location, and you've got the difference between ghosts and spirits, do you think that a negative entity can stop the activity happening, where you're talking to a spirit and then suddenly can you talk, or someone comes in and stops them talking? Can we believe that, or do you think that's just a lack of communication, or they don't want to communicate? I'm not so sure myself whether, if there's a negative entity in a location, why wouldn't it come forward to cause a problem or cause havoc? Why do we only get good ones, nice people, good spirits, ghosts? Why do the negative entities not come in and create chaos within the building while you're there? What do you reckon, Angela?
A lot of the time you hear or you get like the communication from the spirits that you do want to talk to say that they're being held back by something negative, don't you? I don't know why. I don't know why they would do that. Maybe they don't want a particular story shared about themselves or what happened there, or I don't know, there might not even be anything to do with the venue that you're at. But then I know other people who are of the opinion that because like when we die and then we leave our bodies, we're essentially like a light being then, and we sort of go towards the light. So they don't think that there can be like an evil spirit kind of thing. So anything negative is just sort of negative energy rather than somebody that lived before. So I don't know, because I've experienced sort of so many different things, negative and positive, on investigations that I don't have an opinion on it at the moment, because sometimes it seems like it is like a bad spirit, but then how can they be if we're energy that sort of goes towards the light? So I don't know. I'm a bit stuck on that one.
Julia, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, do you know, I think that they are, as they are in the living world. I think if they're, sort of like negative, or, a bit like that as a person when they were alive, I think they will probably come back like that, continue like that in the ghostly world and still be that sort of like negative person.
I totally agree with that.
So yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one, isn't it, really? Because we have like all sorts of people coming through that we talk to, and yeah, sometimes we get. I think I remember at Widley we did get like Nasty Nick. We got Nasty Nick there, and he did some really sort of like gruesome things. So I guess he would probably be a negative energy, because he kills somebody and, he comes through. And I must admit, when he does come through at Widley, you do feel like the whole room takes on a different feel. It becomes very dense and heavy. And so, yeah, I think that he could probably be a negative energy.
Yeah.
because of
It's
what he
like
did.
Jamie Gay put, depends on the negative energy and how much it has control. Also, it's possible that most spirits wander and sometimes negative energies appear to cause chaos.
Mm.
I've been in locations where negative energy is there and you know it is despite the good spirits around. I agree with that. It's like Jim was saying, she agreed with you, Julia, and what you were saying about what you are in life maybe is what you're like in death. Maybe
Jen?
I've heard that.
you heard, yeah, Jen's saying she's heard that, you know.
Mm.
I wondered if, like I said, if they're negative energies and they're in the building, why do they not cause chaos, try and scare you out? Why suddenly do you get the good spirits on the board or however you communicate, then suddenly you say, well, is there someone bad that's coming and stopping you? And 9 times out of 10, you get that yes answer, don't you?
Mm.
Or they go quiet. So you think, it's okay, so what's happened? Why have they gone quiet? Because they were all right a minute ago. Has someone bad entered the room? And that bad person, bad spirit, bad ghost, whatever you want to say, or negative energy, why don't they communicate? I know they don't want you to know their story, but why don't they just do something to scare you off? Cause chaos in the building. So you go. If they don't want you there, they've got to do something to get you out.
But they want to
Yeah.
attach themselves. Maybe.
Like Ben said, maybe they want to attach themselves to someone to feed off the energy. I don't know.
Yeah, like I've been in a couple of locations where like there's a few people there and they're all sort of communicating and doing this and that. And then I felt like I've been pushed up against something, or I'm held up against a table and I can't move myself forward. It was, what's it called? Wimmering Manor and Hellfire Caves. That happened to me both times. And I was just sort of leaning up against something, just watching what was going on. And then I tried to move forward to like move towards the group. And I thought, I can't move away. I can't get away from this. And I was just sort of kept pinging back towards it. So it's like they weren't trying to communicate, but maybe, I don't know, maybe make you scared by the feelings they give you, or sort of something more physical rather than wanting to communicate.
Also, sometimes like when you're doing like the board or the glass, you might be talking to like, hi Luke, you might be talking to like a really nice, well, you think they're a nice spirit because they're quite chatty and they're chatting away to you, answering yes or no or talking on the board. But then all of a sudden you can just tell it changes, like the glass changes and it becomes more forceful, or the whole atmosphere changes. And could it be that the stronger spirits push the nicer, weaker ones out the way, just so that they have control of what's going on? Because I've done glass moving before, and it's all been very nicey, and the glass has been gently moving and twisting under your hand and that. And then all of a sudden, you're asking questions, and it's sort of like going, and you're like, my gosh, that's not, that can't be the same person I've just been speaking to, because it's just taken on a completely different action, completely different form of how it's moving. So
Yeah.
could it be that they are there in the background and they just try any sort of like gap to try and push themselves forward? And because we're experienced, we sort of understand, and we're like, okay, that person is getting like quite angry, and let's like move away from him, and let's is it because when we sense that it's getting a little bit too aggressive, we back away and we don't let them get through, we don't let them have their own way and cause disruption. I know when I was down at Arundel Jail a fair few years ago, we were in the condemned cell. It's quite a tiny prison, but very active. We were talking to a guy called Nigel, and he kept like touching people's hands and touching them, and you could feel someone touching you. And it got really, really dense in there, and it got to a stage where there's a bar area and there's glasses, I should say. But he sort of like started like pushing the glasses and off the shelf, and we're like, oh my God. And I think that's probably the only time where we seriously need to sort of like come away from this, come away from Nigel, because he's quite powerful.
Yeah.
So I do think, but I think because we know the signs, you know, like with the aggressive glass moving and things like that, we tend to step away, and you know, we sort of like know how to sort of like calm it down and move away from that spirit. But yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it?
Jamie's put, also, do you think that some spirits are not at peace and that sometimes they get frustrated to create negative energy? Also depends on your faith and what you believe about the spiritual world. I think, yeah, I would agree with that. I think sometimes maybe they see the light, they don't understand what the light is, and they won't go to it, because it's like us going to a door, opening the door, and it's dark inside the room. You know, we always have apprehension about going into a door or an area that we don't know. So maybe, you know, when spirits see the white light and they don't cross over, whether they, like this Jamie's saying, they get frustrated because no one listens to them, no one will help them cross, or they don't understand what they're looking at. What we're talking about, Luke, is spirits and ghosts and negative entities.
Yeah.
What's your thought on them, mate? Negative entities.
I know some can get attached to like objects and stuff, like mirrors and like dolls and stuff like that, can't they?
Yeah. But they, you know, I often think, you know, that when you're doing a board or some sort of communication, because you're opening a line of communication, aren't you? Are they just sitting there waiting to get in, to get in the room or get to you, because they can't get down the communication line because the good spirits are communicating? Do you think they're actually trying to force them out of the way so they can come down the communication line into the room and start with? But we see the warning signs first before they can actually get in it. You start. Could it be that the good spirits are giving you a warning sign saying something's wrong? You know, because we wouldn't know, would we, until it was too late?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know, because I don't know how the like negative and positive energies would interact, because one, you've got like the positive one's a higher vibration than the negative one, so I don't know how they would sort of see each other.
Yeah, you've always got to have opposites, haven't you?
Yeah.
Same as ley lines. You have a positive ley line, there'll be a negative ley line. You've always got to have that balance.
I didn't know that about ley lines.
Yeah. Yeah, you've always got to have the balance between the two. Otherwise, it's all one way. But as far as I remember reading a long time ago about ley lines and how they work in the spiritual world of communication and spirit move along, because water's energy. But to have a positive ley line, you've got to have a negative one. You've always got to have that balance. Same as life, isn't it? In life,
Yeah.
you know, you've always got to have that balance. You're negative, you've always got to have a positive to balance, outweigh that. So that's the same as far as I understand what I read. That the ley lines, you can have negative and positive ley lines, because there's always got to be that balance.
Yeah.
So, Jamie's put, also, do you think spirits pick up on like us people who don't take them seriously, and that cause negative energy? I think they pick up on us. I think, you know, whether, I don't know whether they see us or they just see us as an energy, but surely they'll come that close that they can feel your energy, to whether you're good or bad, whether they should communicate or not communicate.
And also,
Anybody?
you know, when
Sorry?
Also, like when you're doing an experiment and it's not, you know, so it's not really happening, and you know, it's quite hard to get things going. Sometimes if you sort of like laugh and have a giggle amongst yourselves, it will start working. Take your eye off the glass, take your eye off what you're doing, have a bit of a joke amongst yourself, create that positive energy, create that, you know, that laughing, all that energy, and then things start to happen and you're like, oh my god, did you just hear that? Oh, and the glass is moving. Because I think they sort of like, they enjoy, you know, hearing people laugh, they enjoy, you know, so I do think that they, you know, they do feed off of what we give. And I think maybe if we give negativity, you know, oh, not much is happening here, and oh, you know, oh no, we haven't got much tonight. No, I don't really like this venue. It's not big enough, or it's, you know, blah blah blah. You know, maybe they pick up on that as well and think, oh, you know, they come through. What we give, that's what they give back. I think that's what I'm
Do you think you can get guests that come through that are negative as soon as they start?
I think sometimes people turn up, especially if they've been persuaded to come on behalf of somebody, and it's not really their sort of like thing. Do you remember Shepton Mallet, Paul, when we were outside and there was that lady, and you said to her, oh, you know, what are you doing here then? And she's like, well, because she asked me to come.
Yeah.
And she really wasn't happy. I don't know if they'd had an argument or something, but something just wasn't sitting right.
Yeah.
And you know, you picked up on that, I picked up on that, and you know, I went over to talk to her because, you know, I thought, oh, you know, she doesn't look very happy. She told me off for parking outside. She told me off for parking outside Shepton Mallet prison, and she said, oh, you can't park there. And I said, I'm only leaving it there temporarily because I'm going to park inside. And she said, you're not allowed to park inside. And I said, I am. I said, because I've hired. I said, I've paid to park in there. You know, I've paid to hire it and everything. And you know, I'm allowed to park in there. You know, I've got all my equipment. I'm not going to park it up the road and like lug it all down and lug it all in. But she was, you know, she didn't want to be there from the off. So
No.
and even before she turned up, she was like sending me messages that were quite negative, and because I think I had to cancel it because I had to, you know, and postpone it to another date because there was a mix up with the booking, which wasn't anything to do with me. But yeah, so anyway, you do get negative people. There's me waffling on.
What's your take on it, Angela? Well, Jamie's put, true positive energy does help, but some spirits want to give their story and would like a serious conversation. That's my personal experience.
Yeah. Some do.
Yeah.
Some get some really good stories from them and know about their life and everything.
It's that old saying, isn't it? That they're sussing you out as much as you're sussing them out. Because you wouldn't go into a house where there's a bad party, would you?
No.
You know, you only go where there's a good party because it's good energy. You know, so maybe spirits are the same. They look at the energy and think, well, yeah, that's really good energy. Look, they're laughing, and if they see someone negative, it will, whether that's a dark energy they see. I mean, we'll never know, will we? What they see of us. You know, can they see us? Do they just hear us? Do they see us like a heat haze? You know, we're just an energy in a room. I don't know how it works, to be honest. Depends on the party, lol. Yeah, I've been to some negative parties, mate, I'll tell you. Been to some good ones as well. But I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Luke, about negative energies? Do you
No, if someone's like really scared, they feed on the fear sometimes as well. I've heard about that as well. They feed
the more
on their
fear you are, the more energy they collect, isn't it? That's right. Yeah. So it's very difficult not to show fear when something's really going, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we've been in situations, haven't we, where something's happened, doors slammed, or, you know, the lamb that day, that bloke appeared in the mirror, and them ladies doing the mirror scrying. I mean, it's very, very uncomfortable, very, not worrying, but what's the word I'm looking for? Very unsettling.
Unsettling.
Isn't it? You know, where, you know, she's looking in the mirror and then suddenly the eyes are looking around the room, but her head's still forward. You're thinking, this is creepy. You know, how can that be?
I've seen some scrying in my time, but Emma's very, very good at it. That's what they sort of like specialise in. And when I was sitting on that bed with everybody, with you, with Jeff, with everybody else that was in there, we all sit on the bed looking at that mirror. I've never seen eyes open like that and look so robotically almost
Yeah.
at what around the room. It was, and I took photos. I took photo after photo because I thought, you know, me with my photos, take photos, got evidence then, take photos. And I had lots of pictures, and then there was a black one, lots of pictures and a black one. I'm like, why have I got these blank photos that just dark, you know? But yeah, that was quite chilling. That was quite a chilling night, wasn't it?
Gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite funny, really, that night. You know, a few times Jen said, "Oh, I've been and nothing really happens, does it?" You know, I said, "Just give it, Jen. Just give it time. Something will happen." You know, oh well, it seems like when I go, nothing ever happens. And of course, when it went that night in the Lamb, I said, "I told you, you just got to wait because it will happen." You know, you got what you wished for. I think Spirit heard you and then thought, you know what, you can have the whole lot this night. And completely, wasn't it, that night?
Yeah.
That was just another level. But do you think, you know, the pictures you took, Julia, and there was one dark one, do you think that was the negative energy in the picture? So it was dark but never gave a feature away?
Could be. It could be. I don't know. But I must have taken probably about 15 photos, and I had about 2 or 3 ones that were blank. So could it be
Do you
someone
think
standing right in front of my camera?
Do you think you could take a picture of a negative energy or entity?
I don't
Do you
know.
think,
I don't know. You know, you sometimes when you do take photos and you get these like almost like light wisps or something, could they be energy wisps? Like energies that you've taken a photo of?
possibly?
Lots of us take
You
like
know,
photos. You're like, oh, what's that there? You can't quite make it out as a ghostly being, but
no.
it's just a wisp of something.
But could that just be a negative energy? So, you know, when you see something, a black mist, people say, or the room goes dark. You know, we've all been in that situation where you sat in a room and it's dark. We know that. But then it goes beyond dark, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
You think to yourself, something's going to happen here because it's gone beyond that darkness. And do you think that's an energy coming in and making it darker? Do you think the atmosphere changes? How do you think they manipulate? Is that the word? Manipulate the energy in the room. How can they make it go so dark? Because there's dark and then there's that beyond dark, isn't it? When you think something's going to happen.
Yeah. Don't know.
Unless you're able to sort of like put some sort of like veil over everybody, you know, to like make it a lot darker. But I've been to places when sometimes you can't even see the street lights outside. When you said, can you make the room darker? And, you know, you can see people in front of you, you can see people across the room, and then all of a sudden you can't. And I'm like that. I can't even see my hand in front of my face. But yeah, very, very strange.
Are they able to manipulate the atmosphere within the room? I mean, when we went to, where was it? We went to, when we were down in the basement with the scarecrow.
Merley House.
Where was it?
The Merley House.
Merley House. Because that, when we were down in the basement there, that went beyond dark because I couldn't, although I was leading Jen out because she didn't have a torch yet, but as I turned around, she was right behind me because they had that silly scarecrow thing with the hands hanging out. And I thought someone had grabbed me, but it was that bloody thing behind me. Anyway, and when I turned around to make sure Jen could see, I couldn't see anybody. I couldn't see the door, couldn't see Jen, she couldn't see me. So could that have been an energy standing between us?
We know there was people there was ghosts down there from what we were getting. So maybe someone just decided to like stand in front of you so you couldn't see past them, and you said, oh, I can't see anything now, because we wouldn't have been able to see it, would we? So if something,
we couldn't see anything, couldn't see the door frame, you know, literally we're only feet away, couldn't see the door frame, couldn't see Jen. Jen was panicking because she couldn't see me.
Screamed.
And then Jen screamed. I mean, when we were in that room, Luke, wasn't it? When the camera rolled along the sofa.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
That was odd, wasn't it? I think Gemma was with us then and her friend, wasn't
Yeah.
she?
yeah, she was. Yeah,
But then that room went dark, didn't it?
yeah. Did you?
And we were literally sitting across from each other around a big table.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that, I don't know whether Gemma's watching, but that room took on a real different vibe, didn't it? The camera,
Did you?
it was like they didn't want something to be filmed, you know, so they just rolled the camera along the sofa.
Yeah.
And then there's that God almighty bang, wasn't there? Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, so I think some of them have the energy to be able to create havoc or chaos if they wanted to, because you've got a lot of energy in a room that everybody's hyped up. So when something happens in the room or it goes dark, your fear factor starts to climb, doesn't it? So you're thinking, what's coming? What's coming? And that is your fear factor, and it's a fight or flight mode, isn't it? When it's dark, and then it's beyond dark. Because if something stuck its head through the darkness, you'd probably lose your lunch, dinner and tea, wouldn't you, really, in one go? James, but is that possible, pareidolia, where your mind can't focus on a natural light in the dark and you lose focus? Question is, why would spirit create a large dark mass and it's possible crossing the veil situation? I think sometimes in the dark your mind can play tricks. We all know that, you know, when you're in the dark. But you know, Jamie, in some situations where you can't explain it because it's gone dark. I know pareidolia, you see things in the dark, and that's because your subconscious mind, isn't it? And because you lose one of your senses, you rely on hearing, and you know, it's like being blindfolded in the Estes method, isn't it? Because you lose all that that contact, so it's dark and you can't hear anybody. You know, really, that's taken away two of your really necessary senses, hearing and sight.
Yeah.
You know, so I think sometimes, yeah, you know, you're in a haunted location, so your mind's already heightened, isn't it? So you're thinking, right, what's going to come out of this room? What's going to get us tonight? So your fear factor has already risen, isn't it, before you've actually started your night? You know, so I can go with the pareidolia where you can see things in the dark, or your eyes play tricks. That's what they say, isn't it? It's your eyes playing tricks on you. So I can go with that as a respect, but I don't know. I think sometimes the negative spirit coming in can create a different atmosphere. You know, change the light. You know, it's like shadow figure, isn't it? When you see them, what are they? Are they an actual person? Are they an energy that's moving around? Why do they always look like a shape of a person? Mainly, no features, are they? You can never see a feature. So I don't know what your take is when you see a shadow figure walking around a room, or you catch contact with it. What do you think of that?
Even when you take a picture of a shadow figure and you try and lighten it, there's nothing on it. There's no features or anything like that. So it is just a black mass. So I don't know whether, I don't think they're all evil. I think maybe they're just like black masses that, you know, a ghost just like moving around. And but you know, going back to the energy thing and how the energy changes, you can feel it in the air when, you know, and also with the equipment that we use when a negative energy is about. And you know, we go back to that same old, you know, what's the best piece of ghost hunting equipment? And it is yourself. You know, if you feel something is not right, then it's very possible that something isn't right. So yeah, always go with what your body's telling you.
Yeah, you got your gut feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, you know that you get a shiver, or you just think, oh gosh, you know, something's not right, or you know, you get that sort of like, you know, butterflies in a tummy type thing, and scared, sort of like, oh, I can't go any further, it doesn't feel right down here. You know, your body's trying to tell you something. It's trying to say, look, yeah, you're right, something isn't right down here. And could that be because there's a negative energy down there? Could it be just because there is a ghost down there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there, especially like Wigley, going down the tunnels there, and you get to a certain area and you're like, and it changes all the time, walking around, and all of a sudden you just think to yourself, gosh, I just feel really, I don't think I can go. I feel really scared now. I don't think I can go any further. And that's your body saying, look, you're right. Turn around, run.
Yeah, leave everybody behind.
Yeah.
You know when you see a shadow figure, okay, goes across in front of you, but is that a shadow cast from something moving behind you onto the wall?
I think my very one that I remember very clearly was when I was down at the Red Line in Southampton. This was many, many years ago. I hired the location. A few people came along. We went down there. Interesting venue. We did it after the pub closed, so we started about 11, half 11. Went through to something like 3, something like that. Went down in a cellar. Went down some steps. It was dark down there, but when you looked up the steps, you could see the thin light, of the light the other side of the door. You could see it, but it didn't seem to be casting much light down into the cellar. So it was quite dark. Anyway, we're down there, 3 people each side. We were just talking and saying, "Oh, there's anybody down here? Can you throw something?" We heard what sounded like a small stone being thrown against one of the filing cabinets. So, okay, brushed that off. Maybe it was something else. Heard some scuttling, thinking, oh, maybe there's a mouse down here or something, or a big spider or something like that scuttling about. So we brushed that off. And then all of a sudden, the cellar was small, and there was another door through to another part of the cellar, which was like just pushed to. We heard a door bang, which we felt was that one. We had no one down there. And then all of a sudden we saw this person literally run between us. There was 3 of us one side, 3 the other side, and this person just almost like not run but purposely walked sort of like just past us. And even though it's dark down there, this shadow was darker than dark. And I just did my flight or fight mode, where I just like grabbed the nearest person to me, grabbed their arm and tried to pull them in front of me and use them as a human shield. Again, was trying to, but as quick as that, it was gone. It was like 1, 2, 3, it's gone. About 3 or 4 seconds. But was it negative, or was it just like somebody passing through, somebody that used to work there decades ago, or I don't know. I think we were out quite fast, so we didn't really sort of get to find out whether it was a bad one or a good one.
Do you think it knew you were there? It's like residual, where it's just going about its business.
I don't think he did. I think he just purposely walked, and I think if one of us was in his way, he would have just walked straight through us. But it's just the fact we just had 3 people over on one wall, 3 people on the other, and it seemed to be like a walkway to like maybe the beer kegs or something that was there. It was purposely walking. I think if he knew we were there, he probably would have maybe sort of walked, turned and looked at us, but we never had. No, I don't think he knew we were there.
No.
He didn't. I don't think he did. I think he was just going over.
Sorry, Jez.
No, just thought he was going back to daily business.
Well, yeah, it makes you wonder. Luke, you had this at Ripley, didn't you? Similar sort of situation where you were going to stay the night.
But yeah, it's right. When we was investigating everyone else, it was fine. Just turned quite nasty, like it didn't want me there. It's made
What
me
happened?
I started crying, and I had to call emergency services at 111 to get help. That's how distressed it made me.
But you stuck upstairs or downstairs?
Well, I walked upstairs to have a look, but I think it was worse upstairs actually.
That was terrible. That room upstairs, wasn't it?
Yeah, the bedroom and
The
bathroom.
bathroom.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were there on your own?
Yeah, he stayed the night.
No one else stayed there, no.
It was like the pub, and then right next door were the old cottages that were attached to the pub, and you could
Yeah.
stay overnight. Luke said, "Oh, well, I'll stay overnight and then go back home in the morning," which is fair enough. And we'd been in this room upstairs, hadn't we, for a while.
Yeah.
And you know, when you walk into a room, you think, "Oh, something sinister's happened in here," because it just doesn't feel cozy as a bedroom. You know,
No.
it had its cold spots around the room, didn't it, Luke? Do you remember?
Yeah, did you?
And we were sitting on the bed, and the door was slightly to our right hand side, and we're calling out, and there was noises in the bathroom, which was just off the room. It looked
Yeah.
like a sort of a door and then a step into the bathroom, wasn't it, Luke?
Did you?
So we were sitting there, and we could hear the bedroom door rattling. Like it had like not like door handles, like stable catches. You know, where the arm just drops over. So we were all sitting on the bed calling out, and there was a few noises in the bathroom. And then you could hear the handle rattling on the door, like someone was trying to get in. Of course, everybody's edging towards each other because now we know there's nobody out there. We're all in the room. So, and it was quite dark in there. And then suddenly the door opened. Do you remember that, Luke, when the door actually
Yes, yeah.
opened?
Yeah.
And we were looking at the door going, "Oh, come on, yeah, come on, very funny. Come in." And sort of opened the door, nobody was there. Thinking, okay, maybe it didn't shut the door properly. You know, that type of scenario. And then the bathroom went dark. You couldn't actually see in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then the bloody bedroom door slammed shut. Literally, like someone had got hold of it and just slammed the door as hard as possible. Do you remember that, Luke? Because then everybody runs to one corner. Why you hide in a corner? I don't know. But I remember that thinking, and I was by the door thinking, that's quite a vindictive shut of the door. And the bathroom was dark as dark. And even when you went in the bathroom, you felt sorrow, sadness, even in the bathroom. And it was cold, really, really cold. Even though the heating was on, it was so cold in that bathroom, it was unreal. And I think, you know, I was surprised when Luke said he was going to stay, you know, till the morning and then go home in the morning. And I sort of said, "Oh, good luck, Luke. You know, let us know how you get on," like that. I didn't realise that, like the early hours of the morning, they'd have to call the services to come and get him. But that part of that cottage was quite very sinister, you know. But the pub was quite sinister, wasn't it, Luke?
Yeah. I had to get.
Did you try and sleep at all, or did you just like think? Was your aim to stay awake all night?
I didn't have a choice because I had to get the train. I had to get the train back the next morning. That's why I stayed over.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. I
But
called the
even the whole
taxi.
pub. Sorry, Luke.
I called a taxi early to get me as well.
Yeah, I know it turned a bit nasty in that room, didn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah.
But even the whole pub, although it's a friendly pub and really nice pub and all of that type of thing, but it just had that feel about it, you know. And we kept getting this woman's name come through and all sorts of different contacts in the bar, a bit like yourself, Julia, down in the basement with the beer barrels. You know, there's noises, but you don't know whether the pumps are switching on or off. You know, there's so much equipment in a basement. You know, in a pub, there's pumps and all sorts of things clicking and clanking and lights going on and off. It's very difficult to know whether you get contact. But even down there, you know, when you're sitting there and you're looking around the room, you're thinking, "Where are you? Where are you? I know you're here." What was that?
What's that?
Did you hear that?
I thought I heard someone talk.
Yeah, like a robotic sort of.
Yeah.
Jack mumbled. I don't know if it was Jack, but I didn't hear anything robotic.
That's weird, isn't it? I just caught it at the end.
Yeah. Talk again, Jack.
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe.
Don't take up too much time, Jack. You know. One short stone.
Maybe it's Jack. I don't know.
It could have been. I just caught this sort of the very end of that. I'm not sure. Yeah, so you know, it's difficult to get evidence when it's clicking and clanking and lights flashing and bits going off. But it was one of them places where you went down there and obviously they shut the hatch over you so nobody falls down the hole. and it had that very sinister feel about the place. So, and it was an old coaching house between sort of Portsmouth and London. So it would have had a lot of sailors and a lot of bits and pieces going on there. And when you sort of research the history, because we had this lot of women's names coming through all the time. So this one woman disappeared one night, was never found ever again. And they reckon that she possibly was murdered upstairs. And then the sailors, it was like in the middle of a forest. So they went down and buried her for about a mile or so away from the pub. And while they were digging the footings and doing bits for the A3 and various things around it, they came across these women's bones properly laid out in a like a shallow grave about a mile away from the pub. And they reckon that could have been her that was laid to rest there. And then the sailors carried on their journey and never looked back. But it was quite, shall we say, a busy coaching house. You know, lots of things going on there. So it would have been quite a dark energy place. Although the place felt quite all right when you walked in as a pub, you know, when we were, same again, we went in about 11 o'clock like you, Julie, where it was just closing. They were bottling up or whatever they do and cleaning up. You know, it's obviously late to start a paranormal night, but it just had that feel about it. You know, you think, okay, maybe in its day it was a good place, but the pubs, all the old pubs, were always the centre of the village anyway, weren't they? So they would have been the post office, the pub, the morgue, the courthouse. You know, they would have had prisoners in there and jails and all sorts. So you've got to think that the energy in a pub, you know, like I say, some of the pubs would have been a morgue where they'd have opened people up to find out. And so you can imagine the energy in there is not going to be always that good, because you'll have someone that's murdered someone or someone that's done this or someone that, you know, in the pub, and they used to lock them away and wait for the mobile magistrate to turn up and all that sort of thing to give sentence. So the pub would have always been busy on all sorts of counts, wouldn't it? So maybe that's what you pick up on, that negative energy in a pub. You know, I know there's lots of spirits behind the bar, but generally negative energies all around the place, isn't it? You know, and I remember Luke's having that issue there, but that literally was a door slam. It was another level, you know, like it was really angry that we were there, you know, and you think, now, is that a warning? Is that just showing off, or should we leave? By the time we got out of the corner and get out from under the bed, we've decided to take it as a warning and leave. So Jamie's put, my body and mind are not on the same page. You can always go to wherever, even when it's too bad, love. My body and mind are not on the same page. Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Because sometimes your mind says run, but your body says no. Let's stay and look. You know, and you're in that turmoil. Shall I run? Shall I stay? Yeah. Shall I run? And then someone runs past you. You think, I gotta run because I'm the only one. And it's what always cracks me up is when there's a line of people and nobody wants to be that last person on that line. Have you ever noticed how they overtake you halfway up a tunnel? Have you ever noticed that? I always look behind and think, how have I ended up the last person? I was in the middle. And you think, hang on a minute. It's what, sorry?
It's always like, you know, you always like feel like someone's behind you. You're like, oh no, I don't want to be last. I don't want to be last.
But you always end up the last on the queue, don't you? You think, how did this work out then? How come everybody's got past me? And then you spend the time walking up the tunnel looking behind you thinking, well, I'm not sure about being the last one here. Because I remember that happened to me when I did the Royal Holloway University with the Ghost Club of Great Britain. And they took us down into the tunnels that led, because under the boilers, because in the boiler house, there was tunnels that went underground for about a mile and a half. So it went down what would be Egham Hill, because when he built the Royal Holloway College, as it was known then, it was for women. They take women out of London and train them, women from the streets. and train them to be servants and waitresses and that type of thing, so to give them a good chance in life. And after a period of time, George Holloway, his wife, started to lose her mind. So what he did was built a sanatorium down the hill, and then they built the tunnels so you couldn't see the patients going to the sanatorium. It's a very famous sanatorium in Egham, and it was a very famous one. So he built these tunnels from the boiler house down into the sanatorium. They're about a mile and a half down. And when you walk down the tunnel, and I don't know you know yourself, when you're walking down the tunnel, you don't actually know you're going downhill. Do you ever notice that? It always looks straight, but you're actually travelling down. That was the idea of them, wasn't it? To be built lower and under the footings. But when it's like Widley, if you walk down there, you don't realise you're actually walking down. And I bet if you've got a spirit level, you would actually be going down at quite an angle, but you don't realise it. Anyway, we were doing this with the Ghost Cover Great Britain and said, we'll go down the tunnels because we won't say anything to you, but, you know, see what you feel. And a lot of the rare paintings from the college during the war were actually hidden down the tunnels, but nobody knows where. So they can never find the paintings. So they're hidden down there somewhere. So what they used to do when they had the bombing across Egham, because they would Egham and into London and Windsor and wherever, a lot of the local children would go there and they would go down the tunnels to protect them from the blitz, from the bombs. And then when it was over, they'd bring them all out. So to go down the tunnel, they would hold the shirt tail in front of the person in front of them. So they would follow each other down, because once you're in the tunnel, you cannot see anything. It is completely, it's like Julia was saying, you do this and you literally can't see anything. So to stop children and people getting lost, they would hold on to the shirt tails of the person in front. To bear that in mind. So off we went down the tunnels, and we were walking about good 20 minutes down this tunnel, and literally, and she said, if you spin round now, try and work out which way we are, though she knew which way out, but actually she made everybody spin round, and everybody said, oh, well, that's the way out, but you were looking the opposite way to her. So you could have gone deeper into the tunnel and not realised you're not going out, you're going deeper. Anyway, she said, we'll stop here, and we did a few bits there. There's a couple of noise, little bits of stones, nothing really major. And as we turned round, you know, I was sort of in the middle of the group. So we were wandering off. And then eventually I'd ended up as the last one on the end of the group. So I'm thinking, well, how's this happened then? Mm-hmm. So we're walking along. For some reason, I was getting a little bit distracted with what's going on. And I could hear what sounded to me like someone running behind me. And I'm thinking, who's that running up the corridor? Because I'm sure I'm the last one here. And I said to her, can you hear running? She went, no, I can't hear it right up here. I said, have we left anybody behind? So I had a head count, so everybody was there. She said, no, what are you hearing? I said, well, it just sounds like someone's running behind me. She said, oh, quite possibly. So we carried on, and then it was like they were running and skidding in the dirt. So it's like they were actually kids skidding in the dirt. I'm thinking, I'm not so sure about this, you know, because I'm the last one on the queue. I can't get past everybody because they're walking quite far. Anyway, I carried on and thinking, I kept looking behind me. And then I felt the back of my shirt being tugged. And I thought, I've got myself caught on something. That's the last thing I need, because they're carrying on and I can see them in the distance thinking, I don't want to be down in mine. So I've turned around, and of course, I've not hooked on anything. I'm thinking, oh my God. So I've sort of scurried up, and I could feel this thing. Jen's out with her execution chamber. So I'm walking down there, and I could feel something literally pulling on my jumper at the back, you know, so my lower back. And I sort of hurried up, and I could feel it holding on to me, or something pulling on it. Eventually, we come out of the tunnel, and I'm sort of looking behind me, thinking, what was that? And she said, what are you looking at? I said, I told her I could hear the running and the skidding. And she said, yeah. So I said, something was holding my shirt sort of down my lower part of my back. And she said, that would be right, because that's how they would take the children and adults into the tunnels. You'd have to hold each other's shirt tails, go down there, wait for the bombing, and hold them to come back out. And she said, what you're feeling is probably a child or someone holding on to the back of your shirt, wandering out. So that was really interesting. But that's a very interesting place. You know, they've got paintings there that are worth fortunes. And they get quite a lot of ghostly activity there, because we were talking to one of the security guards and saying, "Oh, do you see much around here?" He said, "We see all sorts of things." He said, one night the CCTVs were all on, and they obviously have students stay there from abroad. And he said, we were sitting in the control room. There was 3 others, because it's such a vast place. They do a security walk around every so many hours, because obviously it's the paintings and students and, and then they saw a door open on the 3rd floor and someone run across the corridor and out the window. And they thought, oh no. So they run outside, they couldn't see anybody. So they run upstairs, banged on the door, and the person in the room was still asleep. So they went back to the camera and had another look, and they could actually see a shadow come out of the room, across the corridor and out the window. So they went and spoke the following day to the guy that was running the place, and he put them in touch with the historian, because they had their own historian there. And she said, yeah, there was a student there in the 1970s or whatever, committed suicide, came out of that room, run across the corridor, and dived straight out the window. Wow. And they said they actually saw, because they thought somebody had done it, thought somebody had come out the window. Because you imagine it's 30, must be at least 40 foot up to the 3rd floor. So they're right up, very, very high up. And he said often they see people walking down corridors, and as there's security, they have to go and check it. And he said it's always not a nice thing to go and check it, because you've got someone in the control room watching the TVs and other people wandering around the corridors trying to catch people. But he said when you get there, there is no one there. And recently, a friend of mine, he still works there. He's on the maintenance, and they've been looking for this very special swimming pool for years. That can't think of her name. Catherine Holloway, I think her name was. George was the husband. Anyway, they found her swimming pool, private swimming pool, in the trees. It had been covered over. Someone had deliberately covered it over so it couldn't be seen, and they were felling the trees and come across it. So it's got all the all-night swimming pool, all this all-night stuff. And the night we were there, they got the massive clock tower in the front. I don't know whether you've ever seen the Royal Holloway. There's this massive, massive clock tower with an arch side to the side of it. So the woman said, we'll go up in the clock tower and see what's going on up there. So we've obviously trundled off with her, gone up there. And literally we were halfway up the clock tower. It's probably over 100 foot in height. Halfway up, and you could hear what sounded like someone walking above you on the floor, like footsteps, literally, because you had to open a hatch, go up the stairs, close the hatch, go up the next one, so you gradually working your way up the tower. And then we could hear the footsteps above us, so just to right, first person open the door and go up so everybody can come up to that level. And obviously the noise stopped. And then the next time we were all there, shut the door, you could hear singing, like a woman singing above you. So she said, right, go, everybody up. Of course, there was nobody there. And apparently she used to go up there and sing to the children in the tower. And that's what you can hear. And the security bloke said they often can hear singing on the site. People walking around going, who's got the music? Who's singing? And they reckon that's her wandering around it, because she sadly passed away in the sanatorium down the bottom of the hill. And I think they built a fairly new housing estate on there, but they've had to keep parts of the sanatorium because it's listed, same as the college on the hill. It's very much listed. So it was, because they were obviously the Ghost Cover Britain, and they were allowed access into it. And that was the first time I think I ever went on a Ouija board there. And that was a real contact, because unbeknownst to us, we got these names come through and died here, all this sort of stuff. And then we got all through and wrote it all down, and she went back and looked at it, and sure enough, because we said, how did you die? And there was this immense amount of bang, like a loud bang. We couldn't work out where it was, like one of the boilers. Somebody hit the boiler with a spanner. And she said what happened was, in the early 50s, there was an accident in the boiler house where a boiler exploded and killed 2 men in the boiler house. And it was such a bang, it was number 1 boiler or whatever it was in them days, exploded. And they were killed in the explosion because they were doing maintenance work with a spanner on the boiler when it exploded and killed them. Said so. The two names you got are the two men that sadly passed away in the accident there. So that was quite a place, and it spreads over. I can't remember how many acres it spreads over, but it starts at the top of Egham Hill and goes all the way down, and it virtually goes. It's not far from Virginia Water and St Anne's Hill, really.
Right, yeah.
It's all in that type of area. Luke's been to St Anne's Hill, haven't you, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never done St Anne's Hill. I've done
You haven't.
No, never done St Anne's Hill, but my friend used to live on Virginia Waters, and
Oh
we
yeah.
used to walk around there. He had a dog. We used to walk around there at night, and he used to say, "Oh, do you know? Every time I walk around here, there's this like torchlight." He goes, "Always around the same place." He goes, "But when I walk towards it, it just disappears." And I said, I've read that could be like a spirit's light, you know, like.
Yeah.
And when you walk towards it, when it disappears, that means you're on deconsecrated ground.
Okay.
But yeah, he said he always used to see this torch, like someone was with a torch, and because he sort of like, you know, takes care of the ground and everything, he said he used to like walk towards it, see, you know, if there's anybody like on the ground or anybody lost or whatever. And he said it just used to disappear. So I was like, that's quite spooky.
But that, because there used to be a nunnery at the very top. It's the sort of place we should go, really. Luke has been there, and there was a nunnery on the top. And quite often, because I didn't live far from there, and we used to go over there, a few of us. Often people would see nuns walking up the hill because they never had. What was that?
Jack
Was that Ben?
sneezed.
Oh, Jack.
Yeah.
So, because they never had water inside the building, they had to go down the hill and get it. Hence Virginia Water. So then they would get the water and travel back up to the nursery with it on the nunnery. And people often say late at night, because there's a really, really old pub right at the foot of it called the Golden Fleece.
Oh,
And it's
no.
a pub that's really, really sat. And I mean, it is a horrendously old place. You get a lot of the film stars go there
No.
to drink and eat because it's so far out of the way that nobody really knows it's there. But when you come to St Anne's Hill, it's sort of on the right hand side. It's called the Golden Fleece. I forget how old it is. And then you walk up a path, and the nunnery's right at the top, or the existing bricks, or the outline of it. But it was also used during the First World War for soldiers because it was so high up they could overlook the airport as it was then. Would have been, you know, very basic, not like it is now. But they used to keep an eye on all over the hill and all St Anne's. It is a great place. I think I went there many years ago with Darren. We were standing at the top and something happened. He said, "We need to leave now because there's something dark coming." And he hurried us all out of it. So, you know, how connected he was. So he knew, he said, something dark is coming and we need to leave now. So everybody took heed and run. I don't think Darren ran. I think he was braver than I was at that time. So, but it's quite a sinister place there. And my ex-brother-in-law was a fireman, and he worked in Egham. And again, they were called there because there had been a bad car accident along the part of the St Anne's Hill. So when they turned up there, obviously to a sad, tragic accident, the body was in the car, but there was no head. So what they had to do then was go searching through St Anne's Hill, looking for the other part to find it. So he said and this was like 1 o'clock in the morning. He said it's the most creepiest place he'd ever been, you know, where you keep looking behind you. Even though he's a big, burly fireman, you know, he said we couldn't wait to get out of there. It was really creepy. Eventually found the other part of the body, but he said looking for that and walking through the dark trees is, you know, it was scary. And, you know, he didn't believe in the paranormal, but he said, you know, it was a scary place. And so lots of people dog walk up there because, you know, your Virginia Waters to your left of you, where the totem pole is by the lake. You know, if you go past the totem pole and up the hill, you're up onto St Anne's Hill because it leads down into Virginia Water. But it's a lovely place to walk. It's a very pretty place, but it has quite a sinister history at the top. So it might be worth. What did you get, Luke, when you went?
Go. Let's go.
I know when you try to like go out of it, you get like disorientated. You get a bit lost. Makes you feel that sort of feeling.
I don't know whether that's to do with magnetic whatever, but when you're actually at the top, you look around, you think, well, which way did I come in?
Yeah.
Literally. And you're sort of not panicking, but you suddenly get that horrible feeling thinking, which way did we just come in? Because all the paths look exactly the same. Nothing's different. So you really have to be right on your game when you walk up, don't you, Luke?
Yeah.
And it is quite, whether that's to do with something in the ground, I don't actually know. But so I've been up there. Well, I've been up there a few times with my mates, and it is quite a place in the dark. I assure you. You know, not many people go there either because it's so out of the way. But a great place, an
Now,
interesting place to go.
maybe we ought to sort of like maybe put a note note in the diary and maybe get everybody up there and see if we can
Yeah.
see what we get.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that hard work either, is it? It's not that far off the road, is it? When you think
No.
about it, just through that metal gate and just a little bit up, isn't it?
Quite
Yeah.
a steep hill. Is it quite a long walk?
Not really, is it?
No, not too
It's
bad.
not-
No.
It's not a hard walk up a really steep hill. It's quite a flat hill, but you don't realise how high you are up till you get to the top. You know, it's probably 10, 15-minute walk. And then you're up the top and you're overlooking Heathrow and all the areas, and so you're above everything. Virginia Water's off to your left, and then you got Thorpe, Chertsey, and all of them areas just down there. You can actually see Thorpe Park from there. That's how high up it is. And there's also a footpath that goes past the bottom of Thorpe Park that's people have seen ghosts walking down there. Farmers. Described them dressed like farmers. And it's a public footpath that walks down. So at night, nobody ever goes down there. They just rather walk the longer way round than use the footpath because they say that they've seen farmers walking up and down, believe it or not. It's a very odd statement, but that's what they say. I never tried it myself. I was too creeped out halfway down. I thought I'd get halfway down because when I was doing a lot of riding when I was going to do the London to Brighton bike ride, I used to ride around all that area. It's quite creepy. I get halfway down and think, oh, no, I'll turn around and go back the other way. I'll go back towards the street lights. Safer that way.
I'd go down there. I'd love to take a walk down there, but obviously not on my own.
Yeah, I don't. It's one of them you get halfway down, you think, yeah, but you can't see the street lights the other end, so you're thinking, actually, how far is this? And then you think your mind starts playing tricks, like Jamie would say. Your subconscious mind starts playing. What if there's somebody waiting? What if there's, you know how they go through all these? No, I'll turn around. I can see a street like that, and I know if I can make the street light, I'm safe. Why would I go riding into even darker? But that runs down the side of Thorpe Park, and I think, if I remember rightly, there is a path from St Anne's Hill that goes that way, down through the trees and out through the bottom.
Let's do it. Let's get everyone together on a, maybe sort of even like a Sunday night, when people's lives aren't so busy, but
it's quite a place.
Start quite early now, so we could even do it get there quite early and leave sort of a little bit earlier. If you've got work and get up in the morning. But
it's not that hard to find either, is it, Luke?
No, it's quite easy, yeah.
It's literally off a roundabout down a bit of a road, and you're there. And as you walk towards the gate, the pub is on your right hand side. It's called the Golden Fleece. So they have a lot of people go in there.
The more creepier, the better. If it scares me, it's good.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd want to go up there on my own, to be honest.
No, I wouldn't. No.
Not so much in the daylight, but at night,
I don't believe you.
I think I've been thereabouts and never actually gone up there. I remember going, I'd say, with Darren and a few others up there that time, and that was really creepy. For Darren to say, we need to get out, and we need to get out now, hurry up, let's go. Then you think something's not good here. Something's coming. but you could hear something like someone walking up through the trees in front of you, but you couldn't see anything. It was quite a strange atmosphere that night for some reason. But we had a good host, so we were safe. But do we have any more questions on the subject? I know I've waffled away again. Anything you want to add, Angela?
No, I don't think so. All I was
No.
going to say was about like the darkness in tunnels. I mean, when you're in like a room or something, you see a shadow figure. I think that's more sort of believable. But when you're looking like down a tunnel and you see something right at the end, I think that's just where your eyes are adjusting and sort of playing tricks, because you can sometimes have like the security light and you look at that and then it looks like it's moving all over the place when it isn't. It's just where your eyes are kind of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
shadows down the bottoms of tunnels, I just think that's my eyes. It's too far away to say. But if you're in a room like that, I can't remember where it was. I think it might have been at the Wookiee Hole Caves when we were in the theatre bit, and you saw the shadow on the wall, and you said, "Look here." So I'm there, sort of staring at that bit of wall, and then you did see like the head sort of go like that. I was like, "Yes, I've seen it."
That was in that little corridor down by the side of the stage, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
We looked, whatever it was, looked round the corner, didn't it?
yeah,
I think I remember that.
yeah,
Yeah, that was interesting.
yeah,
But I remember that now. Yeah,
yeah.
that was quite good evidence. But again, you never catch it on camera, do you?
Oh
So I'm
no.
not sure whether you'd ever catch it on camera. To be honest, would you ever catch a shadow figure on a camera?
I think it'd have to be
Or-
quite a specialised camera for it to like allow for all the light and everything, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Capture it
yeah,
properly.
that'd be quite good. But then your mobile phone cameras are pretty good these days, aren't they?
Well, not mine.
Not-
Mine's a bit old.
Shadow figures before. I think so, we may have got like a couple, but I don't think we've ever got anyone. Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it happened so quick. Would you have time to react with a camera?
No,
No.
No.
it's the one that walked across in front of us down at the Red Lion. It, as you say, it was a split second, maybe 1-2 seconds, if that. And it unless you were like filming at the time, you wouldn't have caught it. You wouldn't have had time to get your phone out. And me, by the time I've got it out, by the time I've used my face to open it up, by the time I found my camera, it's across the.
That's the thing, isn't it? I think the only time I've caught a shadow is at Waverley Abbey.
Oh yeah.
On one of the videos, you see what looks like a First World War soldier walk across the fireplace. I think it's on. I put it on here.
Yeah.
Do you remember I left the camera there and went back to it? Do you remember that? It's
Yeah.
like 17 seconds in. You see what looks like a World War One soldier shadow go past the fireplace.
Yeah, I remember that.
Have you not seen that, Julie?
I have caught one. It was at Hackwood Forest many years ago. I was up there with my friend Mark Ellerman, and we were up there with a group of us. Graham was there, Graham Bentley, and I was just filming, and it was really dense undergrowth. You couldn't have walked through there, and I've got this man, which looks like a man, just trunching trunching through the through the forest, and there was like you couldn't walk through there because it was so dense.
Yeah.
And it was feet in front of us. So, but was that a shadow figure or was that just a ghost just walking along? That was weird. That was a weird place as well.
That's the thing, isn't it? It happens. It's always in the peripheral vision as well. Things happen, isn't it? It's like right, and you turn your head and it's gone. You think, I know there was something there. I just know there was something there, because that's why you turned your head to look, isn't it? Because you're inquisitive. But I've seen a couple of shadows. I saw one at Merris Wood upstairs. See one there, but it's very quick. It's very, very quick, isn't it? It's not like it's slow motion, walking very slowly. It's like it's on a mission. That's how I describe them. They're on a mission. So they across the screen and done.
If we all like collaborated together and we all we wrote a book of all the ghosts that we've seen, wouldn't that be weird?
Be good book. Be interesting read, wouldn't it?
Would be. It would be. But because we've all got like so much experience, we've all got, you just have to say something and we're like, oh yeah, that one. Oh yeah.
You forget, don't you?
Over, I don't know, decades, haven't we? That
Mhm.
we can always tell a story about a certain, yeah. You just say a word and it just brings back a memory. Like, that with Forest Ghost, I'd, forgotten all about that. So yeah.
That's because we carry great energy into an investigation. We have things to talk about.
Yeah. There's always if anyone mentions ghosts, we can talk the hind legs off a donkey really about ghosts.
Oh, I can.
Yeah.
Really?
No, didn't you notice that?
No, I can't say
I was just filling in, really. Anyway,
about all the ghosts that we've seen or something. That'd go on for like a few weeks, wouldn't it?
you could have a documentary with David Attenborough, couldn't you? And here we have Angela from South Coast Ghost. Angela's a very experienced paranormal, and this is what Angela's seen. I could do the voiceover, couldn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luke could play the music, so we'll be sorted.
It's like,
So if anybody's watching and wants to make a film, we're here. You got us. You got us.
not that it's never been done before,
No, well, we can always put a different spin on it, couldn't we?
Yeah.
We could have Jack talking in the background, Ben making the dinner.
Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, Jack does film club, so he knows all about the sound and the lighting.
Ah, right.
We don't
There
do
you
anything.
go.
Well, that's,
We just have a camera and microphone.
and he does it at Fort Widley. That's where the class is.
Oh, is it? Oh, nice.
Tuesday.
You don't worry.
So for your next project, you've got to do a paranormal one for us.
We're doing a murder mystery.
Oh, they're doing a murder mystery at the moment. Well, make it real life.
I like to.
Oh, okay.
You just got to pick someone.
Yeah, I'm the murderer.
Yeah.
So this time I don't think I even have a role.
Oh, that's a shame.
That could be a Christmas party. I did one a long time ago. It was a murder mystery Christmas party.
Oh,
So
no.
you'd all dress up, sit around and have your dinner and all that, and somebody would be murdered. There'd be a scream.
Oh,
And you'd try and work out who'd left the room and who murdered who, and it was so funny.
Is it?
So you're knocking back a couple of beers and a bit of wine, and you've had your food, and somebody screams, "There's been a murder." So, oh, well, that's all right. Let's finish a drink first, then we'll go and find out.
Yeah.
It was a bit like that. It was quite funny.
No.
We never did find the killer because they don't tell you who it is.
Oh, don't they?
No, you have to find out.
Oh.
And there's different clues around the house and the dining rooms, and it's like an old-fashioned house, but you go in and you dress up. So if you're Victorian, you'd be in a Victorian type dress. You'd all be sitting around, there'd be a big scream, and there's been a murder.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I come here for. Seriously, somebody's been murdered.
Yeah.
But it's quite difficult to get the clues, and because there's clues everywhere, but you just walk past them. You literally walk past them. You don't realise because they're so blatantly obvious. And after a couple of wines, I was always gay anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, who's got murdered? Oh well, never mind. Who's got all the wine? Come on, boss. Don't worry about it. That's the police job. That's not mine.
Yeah.
It was a good fun night. So yeah, it was good. Anyway, so that's it for tonight. There's no other questions. So we'd just like to say thank you for joining in and watching us again, having a bit of a laugh and talking about the Julia, you've got an event coming this weekend.
Yes, this Saturday we are at Fort Purbrook in Portsmouth. I think I've been there a couple of times before, if my memory serves me correctly. But yes, we're there this Saturday from 7:30 to 1:30. If anybody wants to come and join us, we've got a couple of spaces left. It's a fantastic place. I think we've even got access to like some old prison cells down there as well, deep in the tunnels. Really good, really good place. I haven't been for a number of years, so I'm looking forward to going back. I think Luke's going to be there, Paul's going to be there, Angela is certainly away on holiday, enjoying herself.
On the spirits.
Yeah.
And we will be there in the cold, damp tunnels.
Yeah. Feel sorry for us, Angela, won't you?
So, yeah, I know, yeah. And Angela is having a really, really wonderful time.
Yes.
So, yeah, so wrap up warm. If anybody that's coming with us, wrap up warm because, you know, it can be quite cold and quite damp. It's not as raw as Widley because Widley is very, very cold, very damp, you know, even with puddles on the floor and that. But, you know, I tend to think it's the slightly more warmer one than Widley, but it's still going to be a little bit chilly down there. So, yeah, wrap up warm. If anybody wants to come and join us, you're more than welcome. Poundnation.co.uk. You can book your places there. Really looking forward to it. Got, you know, some good energies, good people coming. And mixed burgers is across the road as well. If anybody wants to have a bite to eat before they go in or when they come out, because it's open, I think, 24/7.
I think
So, yeah.
that's where Lynn and Luke are.
Yeah.
You see his little face there, oh, burger.
Yeah.
Oh, they do chicken burger. They do hot dog.
No, hot dog, yeah.
Yeah, they do hot dog.
They don't do chicken burger.
No chicken burger, no.
They do chips.
Yeah.
Massive portion of chips.
How have we ended up on burgers and chips now? From a ghost paranormal night. Forget the investigation. Let's hit mix.
Yeah.
You got to get your food in.
Take it over there with you. Anyway, so whoever's going on Saturday, we will see you there. Angela, have a great party.
Will do. Thank you.
No hangovers. No hangovers.
Can't promise.
You know, when you get older, it takes longer to get over a hangover.
Oh, it'll take me days.
Even weeks. I might have to have another drink in a week's time.
Yeah.
Hair of the dog a week later.
Yeah.
Anyway, that remains me to say thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you for your questions and answers and all your comments. So we really appreciate you tuning in on a Monday night. For those who are going Saturday, we will see you there Saturday, 7:30. So we'll all see you there. You'll see how good looking we really are in the flesh or not. It's entirely up to you.
We look better in the dark. We look better in the dark.
Yeah, I've always looked better in the dark. I had hair in the dark once, but there you go. That was many years ago. So thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Obviously, we'll be on with our Fort Pembroke excursion. So we'll have lots to tell, lots of activity, lots going on to let you know about. So please tune in next Monday. Take care. Have a very, very safe week. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.